ago. Eons ago. Eons ago. Eons ago. Eons
Eons ago. Eons ago. Eons ago. Eons ago, my friends. Actually, 4 or 5 decades, but that's a pretty long time. It was, let us say, back in the 1960s, when the baby boomers, that's Perry Logan's generation. Let's all hear it for Perry Logan's generation. Who am I kidding? The boomers catch it from everyone. The boomers have caught it from everyone ever since they came of age. This is just so weird. This is a show about how weird it is to be a boomer on May 9th, 2013, when the whole world, and certainly the United States, has fallen into an advanced state of Kali Yuga. Advanced state of Kali Yuga? You heard me, Perry. No need to repeat what I said. Eons ago, my friends, the baby boomers, Perry Logan's generation, were all about how it was the dawning of the age of Aquarius. That's right, it was the hippies. Perry is of the hippie generation. Though I hasten to say I was not a hippie. That's right. Tell me you weren't a hippie, Perry. No. I was of the hippie generation. This when I'm coming from. I was of the hippie generation, but I wasn't really myself a hippie. They didn't let me in. They didn't let me in because I was... I don't have to tell you. Hey, don't forget, you're imaginary, okay? I know you're completely imaginary. And I don't have to tell you people anything. But, okay, it's a show about boomers! A show called Boomers! Hey, I really am. Hey, of the generation of the hippies and the war protesters, but these people would not let me participate. I can't imagine why. I was, all kidding aside, you would have to say, too uptight at the time to be a hippie. I was not the carefree Perry Logan that you know today. I was a troubled youth. And I was kind of a drudge at college and stuff like that. And so I don't qualify as a hippie. So, when I talk about boomers, I have to say it from the perspective of one who was there, incontrovertibly there, but not necessarily a participant in any of that stuff or taking credit for anything. What's happening? Are we going into the past again? Oh, what a feeling it is to go into the past. The past. No! The past, so much better than today. Come with me, my friends. We are going back in time. Yay! Pretty groovy. To when the boomers thought it was the age of Aquarius. The boomers, Perry's generation, thought it was going to be the age of Aquarius. How's that for wishful thinking? We were guilty of youthful optimism, perhaps, among other things. We boomers, talking about the boomers, talking about the boomers, talking about the boomers, of whom I am one. I'm one of the earlier boomers, pretty close to the early part of the boomer generation. This connects with the situation we're in today, which cannot accurately be described as the age of Aquarius.
Were you a hippie?
No, I could not pass the physical.
Was Mommy a hippie?
Oh yeah, Mommy was a hippie chick.
Some people say you boomers are selfish.
Jeannie, everyone says we're selfish. Sometimes even boomers say boomers are selfish, which is kind of sad. But really, if we were that selfish, we wouldn't have risked the censure of our nation and punishment by federal authorities, and even imprisonment by protesting the war, you see?
Got it, Daddy.
Also, you see, we boomers would never dream of sending our children off to die in Vietnam like our parents did. Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
I said a boom, boom.
I said a boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
So if you look around on May 9th, 2013, from which this show is emanating, you will see pretty much the polar opposite of the age of Aquarius, right? You see, something went south with that vision that I did like it. I have already confessed my application to the hippies was turned down. So, not taking credit for anything that my generation did, but I really was of the generation and observing it. And I always loved the hippie vision. You know, I certainly love the idea that it was going to be the age of Aquarius, but of course we were young and seriously naive. And we could not possibly have foreseen the strange things that happened that would cause the whole vision to reverse. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, Perry. You know I got you on polygraph here.
Yes, thank you, Jay. People like J. Edgar, whom I love, who's apparently polygraphing me during this show, are part of what happened. But actually, what really happened to screw things up, you know, community, let me just name some names. Or at least some groups. Let me just tell you who totally screwed up the hippie thing.
Who totally screwed up the hippie thing? Somebody screwed up the hippie thing?
Yes, Hippie Perry. Somebody screwed up the hippie thing. It went bad very quickly afterwards. And here's who done it. It wasn't us. It wasn't my cohort. If I understand correctly, a generation divides into cohorts. You know what? Like a month divides into weeks, a generation, i.e. the baby boomers, divides up into cohorts, smaller groups, you see? And here's where the plot thickens.
Here's where the plot thickens, my friends, for the hippie cohort, the highly liberal and anti-war cohort, of which Perry Logan is a proud member, even though his application to the hippies was unfairly rejected, was soon replaced by a very different cohort, the Boomers Sub 2.
The Boomers Sub 2. What I'm talking about are cohorts, which are apparently like little mini generations. A generation consisting of several cohorts. I really hope I'm not totally screwing this up. What happened, to make a long story short, is that my cohort of people, the hippie types, or people, I was definitely of that mind. I was an anti-war guy in my little mind. Never mind. But we were quickly replaced, were we not? By the time we got to the 80s, another cohort. They were boomers, but they were, oh no, as evil as we were good. As disgusting as we were pretty. As grotesque as we were wonderful. They were the Boomers Sub 2, I tell you. They were a real group of people, and I'm kind of shining you understand. But suffice it to say, we were superseded by a group of people who were just totally different from her. They were like the Roundheads to our Cavaliers. Wikipedia Roundheads and Cavaliers. If we were the Cavaliers, hippies, they were the Roundheads, they were the Reagan folks. They were the folks who, and there were a lot of them, probably more than there were of we. So what I'm saying is the plot thickens. There is a kind of a geography, I believe, of the boomers that we're talking about here. And though I think our vision, the hippie vision, was innocent, it was a good vision. It questioned things like militarism, authoritarianism, and it fostered lots of good things. But we were replaced. We were simply fate, God, demographics came in, and up came a generation that had a whole different view of things. They were sneaky, shifty, self-centered. No wonder they said we're selfish, you see. These guys really were. These were like the yuppies, the early yuppies they gave birth to. Indeed, they just destroyed our rep, okay? That's what happened. That's my story, damn it. My gang, my cohort were replaced by a probably bigger cohort of equally enthusiastic conservative folks. The Reagan folks, they didn't see it the hippie way at all. They rejected it. And it really, with their help, and the help of people like J. Edgar.
You're lying, Perry.
Oh, shut up, J. Edgar. Stop polygraphing this show. No, I am telling the truth. We were replaced by people who saw it a very reactionary way, I think. And next thing you know, we got the Republican Revolution, and this brings us all the way up to the present, where a whole generation is mad at me. Perhaps, am I being selfish? A whole generation who keep getting different names, and each cohort is getting a new name and being called a generation. The ones with the cool names, excuse me? Not to complain, but I have to be called a baby boomer? There's no way of getting out of this, is there? I couldn't be called something cool like the millennials, Gen X. Well, of course, we seem to love to insult young people. Or at least they gave the generations good names, but we really do, insult young people. And I'm not here to insult young people. I do kind of apologize because, the bottom line of the boomer story is that we really did leave our children in a terrible situation. We really did. So I'm kind of copping to it. But I have that little story about cohorts. You remember this? Okay, well, there's this story about my kind of boomer is what I'm trying to say. There's boomers, and my kind of boomer was replaced. We'll see. evil boomers. Boomers sub 2, don't you get it? They were kind of like right-wing pod people, in my opinion. Okay. Anyway, that's a quick story of why the age of Aquarius turned into the age of Kali Yuga. Hello, this is the evil demon Kali. Not to be mistaken for the goddess Kali. Not to be mistaken for the goddess Kali. Yes, anyway, you are living in Kali Yuga, a 120,000 year period of rottenness as described by Hindu scriptures. Kali Yuga, the last of the 4 stages the world goes through as part of the cycle of yugas described in the Indian scriptures. Let's hear it for the Indian scriptures! Indian scriptures! Indian scriptures! During the dark times of Kali Yuga, rulers will become unreasonable. They will levy taxes unfairly. Avarice and wrath will be common. Humans will openly display animosity towards each other. Ignorance of Dharma will occur. People will have thoughts of murder with no justification and will see nothing wrong in that. Lust will be viewed as socially acceptable, and sexual intercourse will be seen as the central requirement of life. Sin will increase exponentially, whilst virtue will fade and cease to flourish. Oh, sounds like the 21st century to me, Kali Yuga. People will take vows and break them soon after. People will become addicted to intoxicating drinks and drugs. And so on and so forth. My friends, is this not a picture-perfect description of the world of the 21st century? Yes! My friends, I beseech you. Hey, one of my little pet things that I like to bring up now and then is my kind of a personal belief that, well, first of all, the Hindus had it taped. The Hindus have it wired. I think the Hindus have there's a lot of wisdom in Hinduism. And according to Hindus, if I understand it, we are living in the age of Kali Yuga, which, I regret to inform you, lasts like 120,000 years. Kali Yuga is what you would have to call the bummer cycle. Hey, ain't no age of Aquarius as we early boomers hoped. No, we are living in a kind of an age where things are disintegrating. Things are falling apart in many ways. Provable. Maybe everybody thinks the world is ending. Kind of. But we have like real stats. We have record highs in poverty, record income disparity, record bummer things. Not everywhere, but there's plenty of rotten things going on, and people do feel badly. I don't think I'm the only one who feels like, well, Kali Yuga. That's what happened between the age of Aquarius, which we dreamt up, and Kali Yuga, which the evil boomers too caused. The evil boomers too. The cohort that came of age in the 80s. My God, my friends, those people voted for Ronald Reagan twice. They voted for Ronald Reagan twice, and they thought they were cool. They voted for Ronald Reagan twice and still thought they were cool. These bozos were the really selfish ones. You see, the flower children did not go bad so much as they were replaced by these awful, icky people, the boomers too. Awful, icky people, the boomers too. That's my story, Your Honor. Your Honor, did you fall asleep again? Oh no, the camera is going down Perry Logan's throat! This is a first in a political show, I believe. And while we're down here in Perry Logan's gullet, we can mention something that sticks in Perry Logan's craw. Something that sticks in Perry's craw is that no matter how much worse things get, people will say it's always been so. matter how bad things get, by the way, in politics, someone will say, it has always been so. It has always been so! Pantomime guns. Pantomime guns, the only kind of guns that should be allowed. In politics, it doesn't matter what happens. Somebody will always trot in there and say, like that poor fellow said, it has always been so. It doesn't matter. Like when I say, hey, guys, haven't you noticed that a guy we love, Barack Obama, is kind of doing an attack on human rights thing? Worse than Bush Cheney, who started the attack on human rights thing, and this is like markedly different from the world we saw before. I know it wasn't the age of Aquarius, but we didn't have this like ongoing aggressive attack on human rights, I don't think. Although there are those who say it has always been so, and you know what I think of them. Boomers too. They're the ones who came of age in the 80s and thought they were cool. The boomers too. The roundheads to replace our cavaliers. And I don't even know if those are Boomers 3. But I do remember during the 80s when I realized all these evil conservative types. They were compared to us, and of course, as a group. I hasten to say, one is, generalizing. I hope you realize this. I'm sorry, I went... That's because I hope you realize that I'm generalizing. There were folks in the Boomers, there were folks in my cohort who were, totally right-wing roundhead types. There were folks in the next cohort that came after us, the ones who screwed everything up, don't you get it? There were many righteous people in that group, who are not falling under the sword of my criticism, okay? Hey! Just listen up, or I'll hit you with my pantomime gun. But there's no two ways about it. As a group, Perry's generation has left the young in terrible economic shape. Perry loves the younger generation and doesn't see anything wrong with them other than a complete inability to write good songs. Listen, younger generation, I do think you're pretty cool. I love you. And I'm trying to take... You may have noticed a certain conflicted quality to me in this show, talking about boomers and stuff. And you will notice a certain conflicted. That's why I'm doing this, conflicted. I'm conflicted. Shut up. I'm a little conflicted about a number of things, and one of them definitely is my own generation, which I thought really did start out with the right idea, then kind of went bad, okay, evil. It went bad. And the result is I got to take at least part of the blame for a tough situation for young people, whom I hasten to say are perfectly okay except for their tendency to mar their young flesh with grotesque body piercings and tattoos. What are you thinking? And of course the other thing wrong with you folks is what I would just have to call, with love, a complete inability to write songs. I guess that's what people say as they get older, is that the young don't have any good music, That's what my parents thought.
But this time I mean it. Listen, I know a good song when I hear one, and I don't think you people do. This is what I'm saying. Your songs have ruined countless movies for me, don't you get it?
I am totally razzing the younger generation. Oh, but also, because this is all very conflicted stuff in this show, I'm also taking part of the blame, because I guess, technically the boomers blew it, okay? Oh, but a little before that, we did give the world the longest period of sustained economic growth in U.S. history. Credit what you...
Say thank you, boomers. Boom, boom, boom.
People don't realize just how densely symbolic the Perry Logan tramp routine is. For example, right here, this thing right here, is Perry's way of saying, they say we boomers are helpless, but at least we didn't raise our children on chemicals, radiation, and Wonder Bread. If we boomers were so selfish, that makes the greatest generation the worst parents ever. And here Perry is saying, at least we could write a song, at least we could write a decent song. And this is Perry saying, symbolically, hey, we gave you the longest period of sustained economic growth in U.S. history under Bill Clinton. What's your problem? A simple thank you will suffice.